Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is the second in the series of my talks on the 4 ways of changing the mind. If you saw the first talk, you'll know that in order to change the mind, the ideas that we learn through Dharma teachings and books need to go from being mere concepts in our head to being truths that we treasure in our hearts. Things that change us, that's the whole point. The 4 ways of changing the mind, changing the person. So this talk is about the actual process called Tungom in Tibetan, and in English we can say contemplative reflection. It's the way we try our best to bring these ideas to life, to try to really think what the Buddha and our teachers are trying to tell us through these teachings. First of all, we need to get the subject matter straight. And usually for these topics we turn in the Kagyu tradition to Gampopa's teachings. In his textbook that we all use, which is the basis for our study, called, well, in the Samiling translation, we called it Gems of Dharma, Jewels of Freedom. You'll also find it published under the name of the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, or the Ornament of Precious Liberation. There you'll find thorough teachings on each of the 4 ways of changing the mind. There's another text by the great Master Patrul Rinpoche, and his text is called, in English, The Words of My Perfect Teacher. We go through both of those texts for each topic, like the precious human existence or impermanence, and we look at the study material to see actually how many different points there are. For instance, in the precious human existence, there are some 40-odd main points if we combine the Gampopa and the Patrul Rinpoche teachings. Let's say that you're doing, as some people are doing these days, 2 years. You're taking 2 years to do the 4 ways of changing the mind. You have 6 months for each topic. So then you need to make a plan, so that over that 6 months, which is 180 days, then you have your 40, 50 topics. It means altogether you have about 4 days for each topic. You can simply do that, give yourself 4 days for each topic, or maybe you could give yourself 3 days for each topic, or slightly less, which leaves you some time at the end to come back to the main topics, like with the precious human existence. Some of the last points in Gampopa are about how we use it, and that's really the important point. Once we've understood what it is and we've really savoured how rare and unique it is, then it says we use it like a boat, like a horse, like a servant. And maybe those points are the ones we really need to think about at the end. Or maybe we can go back and just spend 1 day on each of the topics, or 1 day on 2 of the topics, so that we go through them quite quickly and refresh ourselves with an overview. How do you meditate? You take your idea for that set of days, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and you sit down. You maybe do a little breathing meditation, just to settle your mind. And you meditate in bursts of 3 minutes. Now this is very important. It's something that we're using more and more in Samaling. It's the way of the great Mahasiddhas of old. It's the way also that's advised for beginners who meditate. The thing to avoid is sitting for half an hour or an hour and wasting your time because your mind is wandering. Many people start like that and develop bad habits of meditating. So what we do is to meditate for just 3 minutes. But those 3 minutes are 3 excellent minutes where you give it your everything, totally focused on the topic you're supposed to be meditating on. Then after the 3 minutes or 2 minutes, you give yourself a break, 1 minute, a minute and a half, where you just totally relax, loosen your shoulders, don't think of anything in particular. And then you go back and you do 3 more minutes. 3 more excellent minutes, as focused as you can be, as though your life or your best friend's life depends on it, as though if you could do it well, somebody would pay you £500,000, dollars, euros. After all, your very freedom, your very awakening depends on this. That's worth more than $500,000. It's worth the lives of many people if you take it seriously. You can get for your phone, for your iPad, many apps these days that are timers for meditation, or you can simply set a watch. Then you don't need to think about the time, look at a clock all the time. Something rings after 3 minutes. During the 3 minutes, you take your idea, and it's as though you are sitting there in front of the Buddha, and the Buddha is telling you this. You're in that amazing presence, or the presence of the Karmapa, or of your own guru, your own teacher. They are telling you that sentence, and you are doing your very best to feel what they mean, what they are trying to awaken you to. So we take one idea, for instance, the idea of using this precious human body as a horse. And we think about it. We think about when the Buddha gave this example, when these texts were written. The horse was the fastest way you could travel in the whole world. These days it would be a jet plane or a helicopter. But in the old days, a horse was as fast as it got. It got you where you wanted to go, quickly and efficiently, and it was much less tiring than walking. So we want to use our precious human existence like that. You think about those old days and somebody who has the good fortune to have a horse and who can travel more quickly, more comfortably than anybody else. You also think about how the horse is secondary. Sometimes for a long journey, travellers would change horses at the inns, at the staging posts. We think that this body, this life, with its flesh and bones and its mind, this mind that's like a guest, a traveller, in this body which is like an inn, then we think this life, this body, is the horse I'm riding just now. And then we will die, and then we'll have another horse. And with luck, we can go further and further on our journey. We think about that example in many ways, that if you have a horse, you need to care for it, because it is the key to your travelling. You need to feed it well, look after it well, look after its health. But at the same time, the horse is the means and not the end. It's going to take you somewhere. So in this way, and the whole fun, the whole strength is that you yourself need to work out how to think about it. You need to explore it so that it starts really sinking into you. Or when we go to impermanence, and it says how in the past everyone died. And we think back, even the Buddha, even each of the Karmapas, had a body, and that body came to its end because it's made of molecules, meat and bones. And so they leave this world. They take no one with them. And we think how everyone in the past died, how we have died again and again. So whatever the topic, we really spend precious time with it, just with that one topic. For 3 minutes, rest. 3 minutes, rest. 3 minutes, rest. And then the next day we come back to it, rich in yesterday's knowledge, and we try to explore it more deeply. Another way is you yourself imagine you have to explain it to somebody. Somebody comes to you and says, what's all this Buddhist thing about using your body as a horse? Then you have to put yourself in the Buddha's position, the Lama's position, to think, what's it really about? It's not much more complicated than that. If you get very spaced out in your meditation, that's not very good. We need to stay awake and alive, but quiet and reflective. Very quiet, very awake. Developing this skill of staying with one idea to bring it to life. I think that's all. I wish you beautiful meditations, and I hope that these truths of the Four Foundations really do come to life. Change your mind, so you will appreciate the beauty and the meaning of Lord Buddha's teachings. Thank you very much. Wishing you well, wherever you are.